What's up, everybody? It's Make It Make Sense. And literally, I am not drinking anything fun tonight. Like this, which usually have some liquor, is this. And they're not paying me, so I'm not really going to do too much with that. Like the video as the intro plays. We're going to get through this video.
Make it make sense.
Bruh, make it make sense.
Make it make sense.
Make it make sense.
Make it make sense to me intellectually.
Big moves.
Surfer.
Make it make sense. Tell me how you squeeze it. Make it make sense. Tell me about the things that you say. Make it make sense. Tell me about the things of your dreams. Hey, let me work out all the things in between. Make it make sense. Tell me how you squeeze it. Make it make sense. Tell me about the things that you say. Make it make sense. Tell me about the things of your dreams. Hey, let me work out all the things in between. Make it make sense.
My black soldiers, can you believe it? I got black soldiers. They're some of the greatest people I've ever met in my life. I surround myself with black soldiers just in case, so people think I'm so racist. I'm not racist. There are more black soldiers very soon. Very soon. You guys are great. Hey, thank you for your service, okay? Thank you for your service. Thank God. They should be cleaning my floors, but it's okay.
Okay, so before we even start, why did this happen?
I am saying your name.
In case you can't hear him, he is reading his speech and he starts with hi and say your name.
I am saying your name. You solemnly swear that I will support any.
What?
I am saying your name. You solemnly swear that I will support.
Right, yeah. The thing is, that's when you say hello, my name is President Trump, not hi and say your name. It almost made me miss some of these.
Our enemies are innovative and resourceful, and so are we. They never stop thinking about new ways to harm our country and our people, and neither do we.
We're going to get into that. First, I didn't realize that this happened. This is a veteran who had something to say. Hold on, sorry.
Is considered a crash out. I'm very emotional. I'm telling you right now, I'm very emotional about it. But bear with me. So y'all mean to tell me, my veterans for Trump, please help me out. Y'all mean to tell me that the president of the United States had one of the leaders of Al Qaeda in the White House on Veterans Day, which it don't matter if it was on Veterans Day or not. He shouldn't have been on U.S. soil anyway, because at one point, America had a $10 million bounty on this man's head. And now he's at the White House shaking hands with the United States president. If you don't know what Al Qaeda is, they were the ones that were responsible for killing service members. And now we have one of
the reason that this veteran is so heated is, as you know, we just celebrated Veterans Day. The day before, Trump invited the president of Syria to the White House. Called him handsome. There was a gift exchange. Now, the reason I'm bringing that up is we can't talk about Bush, because I just showed a clip of him, and not, well, let me just let you see what I'm saying.
Of one man to launch a wholly unjustified and brutal invasion of of Ukraine. Iraq, too. Anyway, 75.
He literally just said that one man launched an unjust war and he had a Freudian slip and said Iraq. And when he caught himself, what he did was say, laughed about it and said it was 75% right. So yes, we all know there was no weapons of mass destruction. We lost thousands of veterans in a war that if you were ever there, if you ever stepped foot on that soil. I spent a year in Iraq. I was not a veteran. I just worked for the government. But whenever veterans talk, I listen. And if veterans are angry that you would have somebody who actually killed thousands of Americans in the White House the day before Veterans Day, it's not a great look. So again, thank any of the veterans out there for your service. I saw firsthand what you guys went through in Iraq, and I couldn't have done it. So definitely shout out to somebody said they want to hear it again.
Of one man to launch a wholly unjustified and brutal invasion of Iraq. I mean, of Ukraine. Iraq. Anyway.
He acknowledged that Iraq too was an unjust war. That's what happened there. And laughed it off. I don't find it to be a laughing matter. It goes along with the conversation we were having about the elites in the world. The top 10 billionaires made, what was it, like, was it $698 billion? Or it might have been 700. Top 10 billionaires made 700. America's top 10 richest saw their wealth grow by $700 million since Donald Trump returned to office earlier this year. But okay, let's get into this. So if you are new to the channel, what I do a little bit differently, because I'm not really a political channel, is I kind of like get into the mindset. I give you guys the play. There was a interview done with Trump around 5 years ago, and this was the conversation. And it's going to reverberate as we talk about Epstein. Oh, hold on. Where?
Media is fake. And frankly, if I didn't have social media, I'd have no way of getting out my voice.
You know what you told me a long time ago when I asked why you keep saying fake media?
Yeah.
You said to me, I say that because I need to discredit you so that when you say negative things about me, no one will believe you.
I don't have to discredit you.
But that's what you told me.
You've discredited yourself.
You know,
So that's the play. I'm going to call things a hoax so that when the time comes for you to say anything that will not benefit me, anything that calls me to the carpet, my core demo will believe that you're lying. So when we're talking Epstein, you get examples like this. This is him on the campaign trail.
Would you declassify JFK files?
Yeah. I did a lot of it.
Would you declassify the Epstein files?
Yeah, I would.
All right.
I guess I would. I think that less so because, you don't know it. You don't want to affect people's lives if it's phony stuff in there because there's a lot of phony stuff with that whole world. But I think I would, or at least
Do you think that would restore trust? Help restore trust?
Yeah, I don't know about Epstein so much as I do the others.
So to clarify, you are more willing to restore JFK and MLK files because you know more about them than the man you spent 10 years being the best friend of. So that's the play. That was prior to the election, and this was after the election.
It's been a big hoax. It's perpetrated by the Democrats, and some stupid Republicans and foolish Republicans fall into the net. They're wasting their time with a guy who...
That's after. So we have the play. I'm going to give you what I need to get my foot in the door. I know this is looming over my head, I'm going to sound amiable. I'm going to sound like maybe, just maybe, I'll do it prior to the election. And then after the election, because I know that I am in it, and my attorney general verified, I believe, May of 2025, that the FBI were on full alert to remove any documents that contain my name as the president. So I know I'm in it. So I'm going to shift. There's one thing that nobody can take away from Trump, and it is his ability to speak to his core demo. And that connection that he has with his fan base allows him, and he does call them fans, not the U.S. citizens, not the American people. He has referred to his his people as his fans. They will believe me because I have called this a hoax enough.
Are you in support of them releasing all of them?
Keeping it open.
If they wanted to release,
people shouldn't be hurt, but I'm in support of keeping it totally open. I couldn't care less. You got a lot of people that it could be mentioned in those files that don't deserve to be, people, because he knew everybody in Palm Beach. I don't know anything about that, but I have said to Pam and everybody else, give them everything you can give them, because it's a Democrat hoax. It's just a hoax. The whole.
So because he knew everybody in Palm Beach, and maybe some of those people go to Mar-a-Lago, maybe some of those people are donating funds for your campaign, you would not necessarily want those files out because it could hurt people. Y'all, he's not effing talking about the people whose names are redacted, the victims. He's talking about people in Palm Beach. I could not run this story without giving you the play. And he's talking about wealthy people who live in Palm Beach could be impacted should the files get out. Mind you, he's a wealthy person in Palm Beach. Should the files get out, they will be negatively impacted. You can't make this up.
Are you in support of them releasing all of them?
Keeping it open.
If they wanted to release,
people shouldn't be hurt, but I'm in support of keeping it totally open. I couldn't care less. You got a lot of people that it could be mentioned in those files that don't deserve to be, people, because he knew everybody in Palm Beach. I don't know anything about that, but I have said to Pam and everybody else, give them everything you can give them, because it's a Democrat hoax. It's just a hoax. The whole.
Okay, so Butterfly Searching, I haven't seen you in a while. Great to have you back. This is where we differ on this topic. I think that the pendulum swung with Obama, and then it swung extra hard with Trump. What that's going to do is breed a more radical Democrat. So we're not going to the John McCain era. I say all that to say, her comment is, if the Democrats had something on Trump with files, they would have ruined him. Trump was very effective at saying that he was being watched, that the Democrats could not be trusted. I can believe that they had something and did not leak it for fear of the whole we go high. I mean, you go low, we go high kind of thing. However, that's not the world we live in today. And any Democrat that gets in office, I can almost guarantee you will mimic Trump's behavior. Guarantee you. The John McCain's, I think even Michelle Obama changed her view on when we go high. I mean, when you go low, we go high. That's over. Newsom is straight up mimicking Trump. So no, I don't believe that if they had something like that, if they had a smoking gun like that, they would have released it for fear of what it would have looked like. Nobody's on that anymore. Democrats nor Republicans. Nobody's on that anymore. And then lastly,
It's been a big hoax. It's perpetrated by the Democrats, and some stupid Republicans and foolish Republicans fall into the net. They're wasting their time with a guy who.
So let's move on to what came out earlier today, because more has come out since. This is from Ghislaine. Sorry. This is to Ghislaine. So this is from Giuffre. I want you to realize that the dog hasn't barked. The dog that hasn't barked is Trump. Victim spent hours at my house with him. He has never once been mentioned. Police chiefs, etc. I'm 75% there. When these things were released this morning, they were, oh, sorry, you can't see that. When this was released this morning, everything was redacted. When the White House press secretary got, I would say she was annoyed. She released Virginia's name. She said, well, you guys have already been talking about it. So I think that in that war room meeting right before Trump sent her out, he said, you can say the name. And Trump has the ability to do that. But they weren't concerned about Virginia. When this was released, and mind you guys, this did not come from Republicans. These initial emails came from a subpoena that the Oversight Committee had sent to the Jeffrey Epstein estate. This was not the Republicans saying, you know, here are some items and we're going to send you some more. So what should unite us across all lines is wanting to protect children from predators. And if you have a billionaire who was on this alleged list and they were doing this alongside Giuffre and they have not been caught, I can almost guarantee you that they are still doing it. Predators do not change. To then Ghislaine responds, I have been thinking about that. What the do you mean you've been thinking about that? What do you mean you've been thinking about that? I want you to realize that the dog that hasn't barked is Trump. Victim spent hours at my house with him. He has never once been mentioned. Police chief, etc. I'm 75% there. I have been thinking about that. I have been thinking about that is an indication that she is acknowledging what he said. Now, what's interesting is Ghislaine has always said that Trump had nothing to do with anything, even though now she is in a very cushy spot at a club fed. She's still appealing to get her ruling overturned. You are acknowledging in this email that Trump knew something. What? And that's just what we're getting. That's not like, I can only imagine what else Giuffre was saying about this man. Now, let me show you this. Now, this is interesting. I'm a fair person. This is from Virginia Giuffre. I don't think Donald Trump participated in anything, according to the deposition. That would have to be another assumption. I never saw or witnessed Donald Trump participate in those acts, but he was in the house of Jeffrey Epstein. I've heard he has been, but I haven't seen him myself, so I don't know. So that's what she had to say. Now, when asked about Bill Clinton, Giuffre was also asked if former President Bill Clinton was a witness to Epstein's sexual abuse of minors. Yes, he would be a witness because he knew what my purpose was there for Giuffre, and he visited Jeffrey's island, according to the transcript. So you can unequivocally say Trump did not know, but you're speculating that Clinton knew. There's pictures of new girls all around the house at all of his houses, and it's something that Giuffre wasn't shy about admitting to people. She said in her deposition, both trips included dinner and that she was never sexually involved with Clinton. So the reason I think that this is strange is these are not firsthand accounts of conversations that she overheard. So how she could assume that Trump did not know, but she's saying she assumed that Clinton did know. Also, what's interesting is she has written a book, and the author came out and said that Virginia was extremely scared of people who were in that book. Mind you, her father worked for Trump. So she had already met Trump even before meeting Epstein, and she got a job there. She got a job at Mar-a-Lago. So I'm not saying anything. You guys can connect those dots. She's not really willing to put down the names of all of the people because she's scared. Around 2019, she wrote this. I am making it publicly known that in no way, shape, or form am I going to unalive myself. I have made this known to my therapist and GP. If something happens to me, in the sake of my family, do not let this go away and help me to protect them. Too many evil people want to see me quieted. This was in response to a user suggesting that the FBI might harm her to protect powerful individuals. Now, you know, I'm not saying anything, but our president likes to sue, so y'all can connect whatever dots you want here. The post resurfaced after her unaliving on April 25th, 2025, as confirmed by her family, sparking widespread discussion and conspiracy theories online. Let's go back here. So this is between Michael Wolff and Epstein. Wolf says, I hear CNN is planning to ask Trump tonight about his relationship with you, either on air or in scrum afterwards. Giuffre responds, if we were able to craft an answer for him, what do you think it should be? Wolf said, I think you should let him hang himself. If he says he hasn't been on the plane or to the house, then that gives you a valuable PR and political currency. You can hang him in a way that potentially generates a positive benefit for you, or if it really looks like he could win, you could save him, generating a debt. Of course, it is possible that when asked, he'll say Giuffre is a great guy and has gotten a raw deal and is a victim of political correctness, which is to be outlawed in a Trump regime. So y'all know I do my research. I went back and looked through the CNN. What he was referencing was a CNN debate. No questions were asked at that debate. CNN moderated a debate that Trump participated in. This question did not get asked. But just to break this apart, you have Michael Wolff talking very openly about the possibility of Trump being on that plane, in that house, in that island, and how that could be used for his benefit. Because mind you, at this point, Giuffre's already been to jail with a slap on the wrist, was allowed to come back and forth between home, work, continue to sleep with underage girls, both in New York and at his island. So at this point, they are playing with Trump because they know that the only thing that could really kill his career is if this type of thing gets out. And he's already a pariah, so he has nothing to lose. He has absolutely nothing to lose. So more emails released. Okay, here we go. Okay. What is it? Let me see. Where are we? I want you to we got that one. Never heard of him. Donald is close to no one. He talks to many people. He tells each one something different. And that was from the Sultan bin Salim. from Michael Wolff to Jeffrey Epstein. There's an opportunity to come forward this week and talk about Trump in such a way that could garner you great sympathy and help finish him. Interested? I do think it's very, very interesting that Michael Wolff he has such a heart on for Trump that he's willing to help Jeffrey Epstein, convicted child M-word, take down Trump with the information that this man has on Trump. I haven't been looking at the comments. I'm sorry. I agree. People sitting on this information should have been ashamed. So I'm not saying Michael Wolff is a good guy. I just don't believe that he was lying on Trump. I think that Michael Wolff's bread and butter is contingent upon the most salacious, true stories that he can get his hands on. So having information about Trump, a full treasure trove of information about Trump coming from Jeffrey Epstein himself is all the ammo that he needed. Yes, some of the victims are currently doing interviews saying that if the names don't get released, they will release their own Epstein list. But I think it needs to come from politicians. I think that we need to see that politicians are not bought and sold in America. We need to see politicians actually doing the right thing by kids. But we got the play. We went from, he doesn't know anything about this. Y'all remember, if you were here at the start of the video, he says very specifically, it's a hoax. It's all just the Democrats. I don't really know anything about the Epstein. I know a lot about JFK and MLK. Nothing about Epstein. Don't look over here. Well, now we're seeing that with just a few documents, there are plenty of conversations that are placing you in a very precarious light. Yeah, definitely get the likes up. If you are new to the channel, please subscribe. None of this matters. His fans are the descendants of people who filled public pools with cement before sharing with POC. They voted with hate and for hate. Ooh, thank you so much, Belly B. Thanks for being a member for 4 months. Mims, I love the new content. Mix it up. Thank you so much. Leo, thanks for the super chat. Tell a lie long enough, it seems like the truth. Should have checked him years ago. His messaging is Diddy and Trump, and I'll say this in perpetuity. Diddy and Trump are two very like individuals in that they can license their name because they have been able to work the media so well for the better part of going on 30 years. They have worked the media to the point where they don't even have to invest money in some of the things that they do. They're using name value. Trump took those, I think it was a linguist that said that, and Trump went to an Ivy League school. A linguist said that he was speaking at a 3rd to 4th grade level. And he felt like that was speaking directly to people who felt like politicians didn't speak to them. And then the whole deplorable message came along and that rallied the people. That was definitely red meat. Oh, okay. Well, he's saying things that I understand in a way that I can understand them. And then Hillary's calling us deplorable. I think that what the Democrats are going to need to do is, I don't know if it's Newsom or not, but if they're going to want a shot, they're going to have to fight fire with fire. All of these bipartisan things, unfortunately, I don't see that being the way that politics are going to work for the next few years. that's just where we are. Annette, thank you so much for the super sticker. So this is what the White House press secretary had to say.
It is not a coincidence that the Democrats leaked these emails to the fake news this morning ahead of Republicans reopening the government.
Why are White House officials then meeting with Representative Boebert in an effort to try and get her to not sign this petition calling for the release of the files?
Doesn't it show transparency that members of the Trump administration are willing to brief members of Congress whenever they please? Doesn't that show our level of transparency?
No.
In one email from 2011, Epstein.
She said that shows the transparency. All she said was it's a Democratic hoax. That's really all she said. Briefing people when Bondi sits in front of Congress, nothing, it's all smoke and mirrors. It's all circles. It makes absolutely no sense. Effectively, he has just said that this is all a hoax.
Are you in support of them releasing all of them?
Keeping it open.
If they wanted to release,
people shouldn't be hurt, but I'm in support of keeping it totally open. I couldn't care less. You got a lot of people that it could be mentioned that it's been a big hoax. It's perpetrated by the Democrats and some stupid Republicans and foolish Republicans.
Not meeting to talk about the Epstein situation, and I think the reporter who reported it needs to get better sources.
Look, the whole thing is a hoax. It's put out by the Democrats because we've had the most successful 6 months in the history of our country. And that's
okay. Y'all, you can't make this up. You can't make this up.
I will tell you right now, as God is my witness, if we lose the midterms and we lose 2028, some in this room are going to prison. And I will tell you right now,
this is Steve Bannon.
God is my witness. If we lose the midterms and we lose 2028, some in this room are going to prison, myself included. They're not.
That's called fear mongering. That's what that's called. You are telling people, make sure you go vote. And if you don't vote, we're going to prison. What? Are y'all getting that? Make sure you go vote, because if the Democrats get into power, we are going to prison. That's the best messaging you could come up with. Exactly. They're saying the inside part out loud. This was right before election day. That I'm so glad I do not have to look at him anymore. Let me see. We did that. Okay, I want to show you guys this.
The Department of Homeland Security says 8 U.S. citizens and an undocumented. Don Hasbrook has details.
This is what ICE does. This is what these terrorists do to babies. Mama, you okay, Mama?
A family showing what happened to their 1-year-old pepper sprayed near 26th Street.
A 1-year-old was pepper sprayed. At my age, if you pepper spray me, you probably better try to kill me. You better hope that nobody gives me any milk before I can get to you. I can't even imagine being an American citizen doing the most American thing you can think of. Going to Walmart. Going to Sam's or Costco. You're going to save a little money on your family outing. You are an American citizen and you get pepper sprayed by ICE.
Saturday, November 8th, video of ICE operations in Little Village and Cicero shows the activity.
Where's Bovino?
Border Patrol Commander Greg Bovino and members of ICE a press conference about it on Sunday with the family in the video at the office of Alderman Mike Rodriguez.
The moment that I'm approaching to leave the Sam's parking lot on Cicero, on the side of Ogden, I'm seeing ICE trucks coming in through the side parking lot.
Members of the Veraza family were driving to Sam's Club in Cicero to shop when they encountered the scene.
I had my window down. Basically, I got sprayed all over my face. I never knew my dog.
Do y'all see that? You are driving with your window down with your wife, your baby, 1 year old, and a ICE agent passes you by and just sprays you. Now, would you do that if that person were another ethnicity?
I got sprayed in her face until my wife was the one that reacted and was like, you know what, our daughter.
They say agents pepper sprayed a number of cars leaving the lot.
I'm just minding my own business. I'm not even looking at them. I'm going straight forward, trying to come out. They're looking out. They're spraying at everybody's cars. They spray from the beginning of my front of my car all the way to the back.
A pastor was nearby having breakfast, saw the scene, and took the family from medical care.
A 1 year old baby shopping with her family, pepper sprayed at close range. Not protesting, not chasing ICE vehicles, not fighting, not doing anything wrong, just shopping. In fact, they didn't even make it to shop.
They suggest people continue to document the enforcement.
To all Illinois residents.
It's gotten so bad that, well, let me show you this first. So some people feel, because I've heard this, I read the comments, some people feel as though the ICE raids are specific to the Latin culture. Let me show you this. Chicago. I want to show you the actual, I don't want to do it from the BBC.
Before being detained for hours during a middle-of-the-night raid in South Shore earlier this week. As Scott Schneider reports, congressional leaders are hoping her story further unites the city as immigration action throughout Chicago has taken a violent turn in recent.
Terrorized, children have been crying, children were thrown on the ground, zip tied, we're not going to go in there, and now this building has been vacant.
So in addition to targeting predominantly Hispanic people, and I can tell you why, what white nationals are most concerned about outside of Black people are the sheer population of Hispanic people in America. So technically, Black or foundational Black Americans make up around 12 to 13% of the population. Well, Hispanic people make up a much larger percentage. And if they feel like if it goes unchecked, they will not be the predominant race. In this situation, to be in your bed asleep in America and your only crime being that you live in a housing project, imagine masked people with weapons coming to your door, forcing you to get out of your house, detaining you, putting you in handcuffs. This was the entire housing project. So this was Latin and Black people. So it's not just a Latin situation. It is definitely an American situation. I don't want just random cops coming up to me. I told you there was a case of mistaken identity with me specifically, and I'm just heading to work, and two cops came up to me thinking I was somebody with a warrant with their guns drawn. And I just happened to be stupid because I didn't get on the ground. I went in my house. I didn't follow their instructions stupidly. But when you are doing something as innocuous as just backing your car up to head to work, and you have somebody with guns in your face thinking you're somebody else. I can't even imagine being woken up out of my bed. I mean, you already live in a housing project, so maybe it's not even the safest. So you might think that you're getting robbed, and you have masks on. I don't care if somebody has a mask on and a badge that says ICE. I still would probably think that you're not even an ICE person, to the point where so many people are pretending to be ICE that the administration is contemplating not allowing them to wear face masks anymore. But like I tell you, I don't just like to report these things. I like to give you the play. So initially, this was the statement. It said there was no crowd control or pepper spray deployed in the Sam's Club parking lot, Assistant Secretary Tricia McLaughlin said. So initially, when they were questioned about pepper spraying the baby, the 1-year-old, they said, no, nothing ever happened in the parking lot. Then once it got attention, that's when they said, rioters began throwing objects at agents and blocking the road. So that's when they released footage. Let me show you, from another part of Chicago where there were skirmishes with ICE. So that is damage control. And so that you can see what damage control looks like in real time, I found this example. So this woman was working for a man who owned land. She was supposed to be, let me show you her photo. So that's 1632. This woman in the car was minding her business, doing her work. The cops went up to her, wanted her ID. She didn't want to give it to them. Legally, she didn't have to. She wasn't being detained. She ended up being handcuffed. She ended up throwing up on herself. And then she called for the supervisor. Listen to what they said after they realized they were going to have to let her go, and they really had no probable cause to keep her there.
Can you stitch her a ticket for RDO because CYA? You want to have a printer?
Did you hear that?
Can you stitch her a ticket for RDO because CYA?
Stitch her a ticket for RDO, like resisting or whatever, resisting something, obstructing, to CYA. That is a prime example. CYA stands for cover your ass. So initially they said a statement about these people getting their baby pepper sprayed, and the statement that they released was, we weren't even over there. Once it got media attention, oh, well, people were throwing stuff at the cars. And then they released body cam footage of a skirmish that they had that was not in that Sam's parking lot. That is called covering your ass. So that's the difference with my channel. I like to illustrate in real time what things look like. Trump will consistently strike first with the media, who he knows is not favorable to him, calling them fake news, saying the things that they're saying are hoaxes, even if, like in the Epstein case, you are in the files, in hopes that his core demo will follow him. In the situation with the baby being pepper sprayed, ICE tried to cover their ass and say that they weren't there, and then released an additional statement that even made it to the news because the news can be skewed too. The story was about a baby being pepper sprayed. When the news ran the story, they ran the skirmish first that was not in the parking lot where the people got pepper sprayed. So you never really know. People put spins on things. I'm just honestly kind of tired that's why I'm starting to touch on political stuff. If you enjoy this type of content, definitely hit that like button. It really helps me in the algorithm. Share the content. They're not usually, my political stuff is going to be a little shorter, but I thought given the topic, we should go live with this one. Belly B says, document for what? When we beat the Nazis, the U.S. housed many of them and employed them in our government under the guise that they were valuable. You're not lying. Thank you so much for the super chat. But yeah, I appreciate, I mean, most of the feedback has been pretty good. Every day will not be political, but I'm definitely going to be talking, what is the end game with Epstein? I need the Epstein files released in totality, and I need the government to do it. I don't want them to be released just by, well, they can't really do too much more with the Epstein, what is it called? The Epstein estate. The Epstein estate released what they could, and that's how they got these emails. I need to know that my government cares about kids. I need to know that my government is going to release these files so that we have some sense that our president didn't do anything with minors and that there aren't other billionaires running around who could be taking advantage of minors presently as we speak. I need that from the government, and that needs to be a bipartisan effort. What's the end game with ICE invading neighborhoods? There's not an end game. We have 4 years of this administration, and this was implemented within the first few months. And if you think that, all the people who post the images of people running away or people who are technically legally here and are awaiting, like a court date, they don't care. That's not swaying people. So I don't really technically know. For me, I feel like I never would have imagined that America would be so different. I had so much hope in 2008. Not just because the president was black, but because it was something different, and America embraced this, and it was time for a change. I never would have thought that we're at a place where babies are getting pepper sprayed. I never would have. And whomever the offender of it isn't even going to be admonished for it. It's just one of those things that this is where we are in the world. So again, I don't know, but I will be back. See you guys tomorrow. Y'all have a good one. I'm going back to bed. Bye.